Om Asato Ma Sadagamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoramamritam Gamaya Avir Maedhi Rudrayate Dakshinangamukam Te Namam Pahi Nityam. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Reach us through and through ourself, and evermore protect us from ignorance by thy sweet, compassionate face. The subject is the light within. And we take up one very famous episode that involved a search for this inner light, which comes from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And it's a dialogue between Yajnavalkya, a sage, an ascetic, and the king of the country, the Emperor Janaka. In those days, the sages who lived in the forests and practiced spiritual austerities, studied the scriptures, experienced the realities that are described in the scriptures. Those sages there were two things they would do. One, they would take students. They would accept young people to come into a school environment in which they would be taught the basic sciences and the basic scriptures that were prevalent in those days. And they were given a great moral training and spiritual training as well. And that was one function they performed. Another function they performed was to be an ashrama, that is a place where people could come for refuge, for learning about the spiritual tradition, about learning about the essence of reality, learning about that which is beneath the surface, beneath the obvious appearance of things. What is the reality at the heart of things? So householders, people who had raised their families and were retired from active life, they used to come, especially these, used to come to these forest hermitages of those sages to absorb the spiritual traditions that were being taught there and to practice spiritual practices themselves in order to realize, to try to actually experience those things which were being taught in those forest academies. So in this particular, this is just to set the scene, so to speak. So there was this sage who was living in this forest environment, and the king Janaka went to him and to ask questions. That was the favored method. They would ask questions, and then there would be possibly there would be debates in which many scholars and many practitioners would be invited to give their experiences and their views on the subjects that was under discussion. So Janaka, the emperor, went to this sage Yajnavalkya and he asked him one basic question. And that was, Yajnavalkya, Kim Jyotirayam Purusha iti. Kim Jyoti, I am this light. What is this light? What serves as light? What serves as light for a person? Purusha. Kim Jyotirayam Purusha iti. That seems like a simple question. And of course, Yajnavalkya answered it in a simple way. Why? The sun, O emperor, serves as his light. It is through the light of the sun that he sits, he goes out, he works and returns. And the emperor said, yes, it is just so, Yajnavalkya. Then he asks another question. When the sun has set, Yajnavalkya, what exactly serves as light for a man? And the answer is the moon serves as his light. It is through the light of the moon that he sits, he goes out, he works, and he returns. Oh, it is just so, Yajnavalkya, the emperor answered. So, this is obvious. It doesn't seem like a very profound question. What serves as light for a person? Obviously the sun. If the sun is not there, then the moon will be there most likely. But then the question goes on. When the sun and the moon have both set, Yajnavalkya, what exactly serves as light for a man? And the answer then becomes, fire serves as his light. It is through fire that he sits, works, goes out, works, and returns. So if the sun and the moon are not in the sky and it is a pitch dark night, what will you do? You will get nowadays you've got a fire in your pocket, you turn on your flashlight. Or even more recently, you turn on your cell phone. Everybody's got a cell phone. So naturally, that serves as his light. And by means of that, a person sits or he goes out, he works and returns. All his activities are done by that light. Then the next question is, when the sun and the moon have both set, and when the fire that you've been using has gone out, what serves as light for a man? Now we see we're getting into a deeper realm, a less obvious, what looked initially like a very simple, almost simple-minded question, when carried to a deeper level, becomes ever more significant. So Yajnavalkya answers, when the sun and the moon have both set and the fire has gone out, Yajnavalkya, what exactly serves as light for a man? Speech, sound serves as his light. It is through the light of speech that he sits, goes out, works, and returns. Therefore, O emperor, even when one's own hand is not clearly visible, if a sound is uttered, one manages to go there. Oh, it is just so, Yajnavalkya, the emperor answered. Next question. When the sun and the moon have both set, the fire has gone out and speech has stopped, Yajnavalkya, what exactly serves as light for a man? The self serves as his light. It is through the light of the self that he sits, goes out, works, and returns. So now the question is, where are we? Where have we come? What have we reached? So what is this? What is this self? So the definition of the self then is, what is it that serves to orient us? What is it that serves as the guide when all external guides have stopped? Is there something that is at the heart of all these external guides? Is it really the light of the sun that guides us? Is it really the light of the moon that guides us? When you take away all the surface phenomena, is there anything left that becomes known, that becomes realized as the essential guide, as the heart of all the guidance that is provided by the sun, by the moon, by fire, by sound, by everything? What is at the heart? What is the essence of that which guides us? So this is the question. This is by the light of the self that that one is guided finally. And so now then the question comes, what is that self? So that is exactly the question that Janaka asks. Katama atmeti, which is that self? And the answer is this infinite entity that is identified with the intellect, that is in the midst of the organs, the self-effulgent light within the heart, within the intellect. Assuming the likeness of the intellect, it moves between the two worlds, that is the world of waking, the world of dreaming, of sleep. It thinks as it were, it shakes as it were. Being identified with dream, it transcends the world. So there is something, the statement that is made is that there is something within us which serves as our guide, which serves as our central support, which serves as the core upon which we stand. And that which we use to orient ourselves, the external objects, the external instrument, the external features that we use to guide ourselves are only layers on top of that essential reality, which is the true guide. So now the question is, how can we describe this further? In other words, is there anything that illumines everything in such a way that there is nothing to illumine it? It is self-luminous. So we continue the Upanishad. This is the light of the Atman. The self is called light because it is self-effulgent. For through this light, the self-effulgent Atman goes out and works as if it were sentient. There is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. That shining, everything else shines. By its light, all of this is lighted. So now we have to find, to describe what this is. So we look at different states, the state of the waking state, the dream state, and the way the Upanishad describes it, when he dreams, when a person dreams, he takes away a little of the impressions of this waking state, himself puts the body aside and creates a dream body in its place, revealing his own luster by his own light, and he dreams. In this state, a person himself becomes the light. The Upanishad goes on, there are no chariots nor animals to be yoked to them. There are no roads there in this state that he himself has created, this dream state. But he creates the chariots, the animals, and the roads. There are no pleasures or joys or delights there, but he creates the pleasures, joys, and delights. There are no pools or rivers there, but he creates the pools and rivers, for he is the agent. And the emperor answered, it is just so, Yajnavalkya. After enjoying himself and roaming in the dream state, he comes back in reverse order to the waking state. He is untouched by whatever he sees in that state, for this infinite being is unattached. So there is a reality in our life. That is it, to bring this down to the practical level of our daily existence. What is that reality? What is that light by which we move and we live and have our being? Normally we identify with surface phenomena. But even when those surface phenomena cease, as in a dream state, those we create, that world goes on, we create a world in our dream state in which all these same things appear. We take the essence of the waking state and it is again reproduced in dreams, and so the dream state seems, while dreaming, to be just as real as the waking state was when we were waking, when we were awake. So we move from one state to another. And the Upanishad describes it poetically as a great fish swims alternately to both the banks of a river, the eastern and western, so does this infinite being move to both these states, the dream and the waking state. As a hawk or a falcon flying in the sky becomes tired and stretching its wings is bound for its nest, so does this infinite being run for this state, where falling asleep, he has no desire and sees no dreams. That it does not see in that state is because though seeing then it does not see, for the vision of the witness can never be lost because it is imperishable. This is now the key to the next order of things. In the waking state, we observe a universe which seems to be external to us, but taking all of those impressions in the dream state, we create a universe from our own remembrance, from our own self, from within ourselves. We create a universe just like the external universe. So though it does not see in that state, that it does not see in that state is because though seeing, it does not see. For the vision of the witness can never be lost because it is imperishable. But there is not that second thing separate from it which it can see. This describes a state of deep sleep. In that state, the third state that we normally occupy in our life, in that state of deep sleep, there is nothing that is seen at all. There's no phenomenon that is seen. There's no external light whatsoever. There's no inner light in the sense that the inner light is there in dreams, but still the deep sleep state is something which is extremely precious to us. If we don't have deep sleep for a few days, we begin to take medicines in order to try to achieve it. And if we can't achieve it with medicines, we try to go to more fundamental things. Somehow we are terribly disturbed when we're not able to sleep well. But what is it that we experience in deep sleep? Do we remember anything? There's no remembrance of anything. But yet it is a most precious state that is absolutely necessary for us. So what is it that remains in that state? That is the question that is being asked. In other words, the witnessing ability that we have to see things, to experience things, to take part in activities, that is there intact. But there is nothing external that is to be perceived or is to be taken part in. So there is in us something which is innate. So the light, what is that light? Where the main subject is the light within. So what is that which provides us with that inner light? What does it consist of, and what is its nature? And it is found that it seems to be there in the waking state, and in the waking state we say the sun is our light, and when the sun is not there, the moon is light. When the sun and moon are there, fire is light. If fire is not there, sound is light, because by uttering sound I can tell there is something going on, and I can orient my activities in that way. When the sound is also not there, when one by one, when all the things that are auxiliary to knowledge are not there, what is it that remains? It is indescribable, but it is the very essence of all the other things. So that it does not see in that state, though seeing then, it does not see. For the vision of the witness can never be lost because it is imperishable. There is within us a basic imperishable reality which is at the heart of every experience that we have. So everything that we seem to see is on the surface, the surface phenomena. Even when the surface phenomena are eliminated, when the sun is gone, the moon is gone, sound and so forth are gone, still that witnessing capacity is there in full, unaltered. So there is a reality within us which is at the heart of every other activity that we undertake. When there is something else, as it were, then one can see something, one can smell something, one can taste something, one can speak something, and one can hear something. One can think something, one can touch something, or one can know something. When there is something else to be seen, So the thing is that when there is nothing to be seen, that ability to see, that ability to perceive, that ability to understand, that is never lost. But there is no second thing. For instance, in the state of deep sleep, there is no second thing that is to be seen. But the ability to see, the satisfaction of seeing, the satisfaction of having all these capabilities remains undisturbed. But the actual perception itself is not there. So you're not seeing anything, but the understanding is fully present. So the question is, what is that reality that remains? This is what Yajnavalkya is trying to explain to the Emperor Janaka, that those things which on the surface seem to be the essence, the instruments, seem to be the whole description of what is happening to us, they depend on something else, which is at the heart of every experience, but is not directly experienced in detail as such. And that is what we call the self. That is the infinite, that is eternal. So if we say, what is it that is at the heart of everything? What is the light? What is the basic thing that illumines our understanding? There is something that does not change. There is something that does not disappear. There is something that is the core of the reality of everything that does change, that does come, and that does go. And that is described in many different places. And Yajnavalkya says in another meeting, not this time with Janaka, but with Gargi, when there is duality, as it were, one smells something, one sees something, one hears something, one speaks something, one thinks something, one knows something. But when to the knower of that reality, to the knower of that which is the essence of everything, to the knower of Brahman, when everything has become that reality, when he has penetrated to that reality, then what should one smell and through what? What should one see and through what? What should one hear and through what? What should one speak and through what? What should one think and through what? What should one know and through what? Through what should one know that owing to which all this is known? Through what, O Maitreyi, should one know the knower? That which is at the heart of everything, that which is the essence of everything, is avang manasagocharam. It is beyond mind and speech. At the heart of everything that changes, there is a reality which never changes. And that is, as long as we do not know that, we're mesmerized by the changes. And being absorbed in the changes, we ask questions. What is the essence of things? But as long as we're only talking about the changes and the appearances of things, there is no definite answer, because we have not gotten to the heart of the problem. The heart of the problem is that there is a reality here which has never come into existence and which can never go, because it is not created, It can never be destroyed. It is the background, the reality on which everything that moves is perceived. If we see, for instance, a movie, and in a movie we find that maybe we're seeing a boat that is going over the falls of a river, and the boat is dashed in this water and destroyed in all these things, and we feel terribly upset by this. How did this happen? Why should this have happened? But when the lights go on, we find that there was no boat. There was no boat at all. This was the reality we were looking at was an immovable screen. So that is used as an example as to what our real situation in this world is. That what we see is the motion on the surface, but the essence, that which supports the motion, has not changed at all. So in the midst of everything that changes, in the midst of everything that passes, there is a reality which has never been created and is at the heart of the perception. And because it has never been created, it cannot be destroyed. It is the unmoving mover that was being sought for in the Middle Ages. What is the unmoving mover? And that is the core, the reality. What makes us feel real, what makes us feel that we are supported, that this universe is this experience has truth in it, this experience has reality here, there's consequence, there's a cause, and the cause is the source, and the effect is the result. We have this ordered way of thinking is precisely because of the reality of the screen on which this movie of our life is being projected. So when we're aware of that which does not change, when we're aware of that which is at the essence of everything that changes, then that is the answer to the question, what is the cause of every perception? There is at the heart of every perception something which has never come and which will never go. And that is what we have to, that is the search in our life. So there are many different examples of how this goes. For instance, in the Katha Upanishad, na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kuto yamagnihi. So this is in that reality, in that infinite consciousness, in the consciousness of the essence of everything. The sun does not shine there, neither do the moon and the stars, nor do these flashes of lightning shine there. How can this fire then shine? He shining, all these shine. Through his luster, all these are variously illumined. That reality being there, that unchangeable existence being there, everything else is perceived as though it exists, as though it moves. That infinite energy being there, that infinite support being there, everything appears to be supported. So we're talking about the light, the source, and this is we're talking about a region where these external lights, none of these external lights are there, but at the heart of all these external lights, there is a reality which gives light, which gives luminescence, which gives luminescence to all the things that appear to be luminous. Na sandrishe tishtatit rupamasya na chakshusha pasyati kaschanainam. The form, this form of that reality does not exist within the range of vision. Nobody sees it with his eyes. Hridha manisha manasa bhiklipto ya etad viduramritaste bhavanti. So it is realized by the intellect that resides within the heart. Those who know this become immortal. That is the point. The form of that reality does not exist, cannot be seen with the eyes. The self is revealed. When this self is revealed, when that realization comes, that is the source of immortality, because then we are not attached. We realize that there is something here which has never come and will never go. And those things which come and go, we're no longer attached to. That is at the heart of our understanding once this realization dawns. It becomes transparent like water, the one witness without a second. This is the instruction that Yajnavalkya gave to Janaka. This is the supreme attainment, this is the supreme glory, this is its highest world, this is its supreme bliss. On the particle of this very bliss, other beings live. In the Gita, this is also mentioned. Yaraditya gatantejo jagadbhasayate khilam yat chandramasi yat shagnao tat tejo vidhi mamakam. That light which is in the sun, which illumines the whole world, that which is in the moon and that which is in fire, know that light to be mine. Because that reality which underlies everything is not, when we talk about it in this way, it seems to be insensitive. It seems to be, it does not seem to have consciousness. It seems to be like an unmoving support, which is simply a fact. It has there's no love, there's no emotion, there's no behind it. And so this is the statement, it is not that at all. That light which we perceive as a living light, it's a living reality, it's full of joy, it is described as Satchidananda. It exists, it is conscious, and it is bliss itself. It is that which is, when we take away everything that changes, we feel that we're totally lost. But actually the reverse is the case. When we remove everything that changes from our experience, it isn't that nothing is left. What is left is at the heart of everything, this is the light that causes the lights of understanding, of existence, of consciousness, of joy. This is what we perceive, and this light of existence, the light of consciousness, is something which is permanent, which is unchangeable and unchanging. It isn't that this is a light that can come and go. This is the light that shines through all the other dead things, the unliving things, the immovable things, and makes them appear to be alive and moving and acting and satisfying and granting joy and fulfillment. The joy and fulfillment that we get from anything that is joyful and fulfilling is not due to the surface of it. It is due to the presence of that infinite reality behind it. This is the teaching of the Upanishad that Yajnavalkya was explaining to the Emperor Janaka, that it is not the appearance of, that the satisfaction we get from things is not from the appearance of the things, is not from the surface aspects of it that may seem attractive or enjoyable or beneficial in some way. These are all distortions of that one reality, which is all beneficent, all satisfying, all fulfilling, because it is one and only. It is not two. It is at the heart of everything that appears to be beneficial. There is something which is the essence of that shines through what we see in the things that we enjoy, what we see in the things that seem to be beneficial, seem to be desirable, is a distortion, actually, of what we could see. We get so much apparent joy from the things that we seem to be benefited by, but this is only a distortion. We're seeing a distorted image of the reality that itself is only distantly described as being Sat-Chit Ananda. It is the very essence of existence, of consciousness, of joy. And as it appears through all these other media, it is actually distorted. So the joy we get from material things or from intellectual things is a distortion of that infinite, unbounded joy that we could get if we could see beyond the surface of the surface phenomena to which we attribute the joy that we get. That is the meaning of what is being explained here. So, like it says in the Gita, the light in the sun which illumines the whole world, and which is in the moon, and that which is in fire, know that light to be mine. So it is the light of the infinite, it is the light of God, of the perfect, of the pure, of the totally satisfying, of the infinitely and eternally satisfying. That light, if it comes to us in a distorted fashion through the things which seem to be temporarily attractive, temporarily satisfying, temporarily joy-giving. So the plea of the scriptures is not to be distorted or deflected from the path of getting to the very heart of reality, which is infinitely satisfying, and not to be satisfied with the distorted visions which right now appear to us so satisfying, not to be dissuaded from the path of attempting to reach that reality itself by the appearance, by the partial reality that we get in our normal experiences. One who has become Brahman and has attained the blissful self does not grieve or desire, Becoming the same toward all beings, he attains supreme devotion to me, that is, to that divine reality. One who has become, having identified oneself with that all-pervading reality, and having attained that, having experienced that, then one cannot grieve and one cannot desire. One cannot desire because nothing else remains to be attained. The desire for attainment has been extinguished by becoming that which is the essence of everything that seems to be desirable. So there's nothing further, nothing limited that can be attractive in any sense. This is the essence of that scripture that proclaims that the Gita, Yaradi Jagatam Tejo Jagad Bhasayati, that light which is in the sun and which lights the whole universe, that is only a reflection. That is what seems, when we say what serves as light for a man, the first thing we say, the sun serves as his light. But the sun itself is only a secondary illuminant. Because at the essence, at the heart of the sun, that which causes the luminosity of the sun, which is itself the essence of luminosity. The sun itself is a pale reflection of that. It is only a distorted reflection of that illuminating quality. His form does not exist within the range of vision. Nobody sees him with the eye. When this self is revealed through deliberation, it is realized by the intellect, the ruler of the mind that resides in the heart. Those who know this become immortal. It is not that we see anything that can be said, that is not that we seek those things which are satisfying to us. It is that we should realize that within us is already that experience, is already that reality. It has already been attained, and it is something which we only have to realize that we have. So this is the essence of the teaching, that it isn't something that we need to attain, it is something that we realize that we already have. From the Gita, Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram. That is, he who sees Samam, the same, Sarveshu Bhuteshu, in all beings, Tishtantam, abiding in all beings, Parameshwaram, the supreme reality, abiding in all beings, Vinashyat Swani Vinashyantam, the perishable in the imperishable. He who sees that the perishable exists within the imperishable, he who sees that, he really sees. Samam Pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishwaram. So he who sees Samam Pashyan, seeing the same, samam hi sarvatra, everywhere, samavastitam ishwaram, the same Ishvara, sama avastita, being established in the same way everywhere. Nahi nastyatmanatmanam, he does not destroy one thing by another. He does not destroy the reality of one thing by the reality of another. Tato yati param gatim. So he goes to the supreme goal, seeing that divine reality everywhere. one goes to the supreme goal. That is the point. It is the seeing of difference which is the great, you could say, the great wickedness or the great sin. Seeing the same, seeing sameness everywhere is the great glory. Because if you see sameness everywhere, though you're seeing differences, you're seeing at the heart of all these differences there is the same thing. If you see various people in front of you, you're not disturbed about that because you see the same humanity in them all. So that should be extended. Every perception is a perception of God. There is nothing else to be perceived. That is what the scriptures are trying to teach us, what the holy people are trying to teach us. Seeing, Sri Ramakrishna used to talk about seeing the Divine Mother everywhere, even in things which were not generally considered or approved by society. Sri Ramakrishna still saw, yes, it is Mother that is being seen in all these appearances. The great sin is not what we ordinarily ascribe to as being sinful. Those are sins also, but they are not the great sin. The great sin, the central sin, is to see differences. And the great virtue is to see the same reality everywhere. Now, this is not something that you're simply painting over and you're saying, oh, this here's a painting that has so many colors in it. You're dipping the whole painting in a bucket of paint of one color. You say, no, I'm seeing the same color everywhere. That is a distortion of what is meant. Seeing at the heart of every perception, seeing God at the heart of every perception, that is what we're trying to attain. That is what we're teaching. That is what has been taught by all the scriptures, that God is present everywhere. Everybody makes God, or the conception of God, into an infinite, eternal reality that is present everywhere. God can be approached under any circumstances, under any conditions. The help of God is available. So many statements we make like this. But what is the essence of what we're saying in all these statements? By saying that God is present everywhere, this is something that is to be actually practiced as being the reality. For practical purposes, when you're driving along, you make a great deal of difference about what you see as you drive. But there's a great deal of difference. You see a light up there, there's a great deal of difference about whether that light is red or green, and we behave accordingly. But to see the same reality in all these things means to see, that does not mean that you do not see the differences. You see the differences as being decorations of that one reality, as being different perceptions, different examples of that one reality, and that it is the one reality that is being seen all the time, dressed in different ways, appearing in different ways. So the great sin, if you want to talk about sin, is the seeing of differences at the heart of things. On the surface, you can see the ocean. Waves in the ocean can, if any of you have ever been on the ocean, you can know that the waves can be an enormous. As if you go through a storm in the North Atlantic, for instance, you will see waves that are almost as high as the ship that you're on. As the ship plows through the waters, but it is the same ocean. You have no feeling that there is a different phenomenon there. So whatever perception you have, however the perceptions differ on the surface, at the heart of things there is unity. That is the message of all religions. The difference between one religion and another is that they give this unity a different name. They call it this way, they call it that way, and then they argue a great deal about the names and how one should approach these names and how should one deal with these various aspects. But the fact that at the heart of everything there is that divine consciousness, that divine perfection, that divine impulse, that is the message which all religions are trying to teach. And that is no matter how varied the surface is, no matter how stormy the surface is, we have to realize it's the same ocean. And it's the ocean itself which is our own nature. It's not the ocean of something else. It's not something that we perceive as something. I am one thing and that is another. That ocean also surges within me. That ocean goes up and down. The waves move back and forth. It is my own essence. It is my own essence that I perceive everywhere. This is what the Upanishads are trying to say. This is what the Gita is trying to say. And by surrendering to that, by being absorbed in that, this is the path to proceed. That seeing that same, this is really the essence of spirituality. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishwaram. Seeing samam in the same way, sarvatra, everywhere, samavastitam, totally established, the Supreme Lord totally established everywhere. That is the thing, no matter how it differs on the surface, at the heart of everything there is only God, there's only infinity, there's only existence, knowledge, bliss, Satchidananda. And that is the message that is being, especially in these ages where people are aware of are delighting in the tiny differences between one thing and another, which made such a huge difference on the surface. But at the heart of everything, at the heart of every difference, is an entity which does not change. One should feel the presence of that. Feeling the presence of God, feeling the presence of the unchangeable amidst everything that changes. That is what is called spirituality. Om Dhyauhu Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithivi Shanti Apo Shanti Roshadaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishwe Deva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, peace is in heaven, peace is in the sky, on the earth and in the waters. The herbs, the plants and the trees are full of peace. The gods are peaceful. Everything in the universe is pervaded by peace. May that infinite universal peace enter our soul and being. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all.